As millions of people around the world have been asked to practice social distancing, video conferencing platforms have become the glue which holds people together despite being physically separated from friends and loved ones. Communication now has never been easier, but how much is too much? Joanna Sugden is the mobile editor for the Wall Street Journal in London, and she joins us now. She was also the author of that article. So, Joanna, what exactly is Zoom fatigue, and why is it such a problem now?
Well, as you said, these video conferencing that are the glue that holds us together, and for a lot of people, it's been an absolute lifeline during lockdown. But what I found during my reporting was that there's a kind of paradox that we might have expected to have lazy lockdowns to do odd jobs, but actually, because of these video conferencing apps on our phones and on our laptops, we can be contacted any time of day, but from anywhere in the world, and actually the on-screen relationship isn't quite the same as one which you might have going to have a cup of coffee or meet someone in the pub, and it doesn't give you that kind of energy that you get in our normal social life. So it can be quite draining, is what people were telling me.
But what is it about it that makes it so draining?
I think that people were talking about this dissonance between not being able to look someone directly in the eye, because you're either looking at their image or you're looking at the camera. And so you're not seeing each other eye to eye and getting those normal social cues that you do in a face-to-face meeting. And there's also the technology itself. There's a kind of delay between who's speaking. Often everybody is speaking at the same time, and that can be quite frustrating. Or if everyone's on mute, then only one person has that burden and the others can't chip in as you normally would in a normal conversation. There's also not the escape kind of routes that people are used to, maybe in the pub, where you can say, oh, if conversation's drying up, you can say, oh, do you want another drink? Or I've just got a nip to the loo. It's not like that. It's very intense. It's very and quite exhausting. People were saying that they were having back drinks at the beginning of lockdown on Zoom, and actually you wouldn't socialize that much in a normal evening. You wouldn't go from one party to the next in a normal week.
Yeah, I love it. We used it, our producers and I used it this morning to conference in, and I actually didn't even turn my camera on this time because I wasn't fully dressed and ready to face the team. But it's wonderful because we're all connected, and it gives us that chance to connect in the morning from wherever you are. But, when people talked about the beginning of this self-isolation period, a lot of people felt, I'm going to learn new things. I'm going to clean my closet. I mean, I have not cleaned my closet. I have not learned anything new. What is it about this Zoom era that's also preventing us from going a little bit further?
That's true, isn't it? Yeah, there was that tweet going around that Shakespeare wrote King Lear during quarantine, and there was a lot of pressure people were putting on themselves to have a lockdown bucket list of things that they were going to finally tick off. I think there's been so much of our lives now have actually migrated online. My daughters both did a virtual ballet class this morning with their normal teacher, and I could have gone to a Zoom choir last night if I'd had the energy. And I think that our normal lives have migrated online, and then there are the other things that you can do from anywhere in the world. Like, people could go to the British Museum on a museum tour from San Francisco, or you can do. The world is now literally your oyster, even though you're confined to your house. So I think there's a pressure there, and people have maybe found, while the world is turned upside down in a pandemic, they're just in survival mode, and actually doing all those extracurricular learning things just isn't on the agenda at the moment. They're just trying to get through the day.
So how is it that you feel? Do you feel people are just more social? I know my friends have set up trivia nights on Zoom. We've had bingo nights with the family and my kids and their cousins. Are people more social while they've been under quarantine? Is there a sense of that?
I think definitely there is a sense that people want to reach out now because they want to find out how everyone's doing in this unprecedented situation, which we keep calling it. And also people told me during my reporting, there's no expectation of us being able to see each other for a while. And so we want to make the most of now and the ways in which we can connect and can reach out to people. And I was speaking to someone last night for another story that I'm working on, and for him, Zoom has been an absolute lifeline, and I really don't want people to think that that it isn't an excellent tool, but it's not. He even admitted it's not quite the same. It's not the same as getting out, having a plan, meeting someone, and feeling that buzz from being around other people. And it was introverts and extroverts who were telling me this, not just people who are who don't like socializing or mixing. It was people who usually go out 3 or 4 times a week. They just weren't getting the same kind of social stimulation from being on Zoom calls or Zoom drinks or quizzes.
Yeah, it certainly isn't the same, that's for sure. But how do you think this virtual social life that we have now is going to impact our normal social life in the future?
Well, interestingly, I think it's just given us more options, hasn't it? And for working parents, or parents in particular, you don't have to get a babysitter to have dinner with your friends. We had a Zoom dinner party, and none of us had to either tidy up our houses or worry about whether the kids were going to go to bed to allow us to get out. And so I think that it's taught us new ways, and but I think it's never going to fully replace, hopefully, what we're going to be able to get back to one day of meeting up.